Zettel für die lange Weg. 2 Flaschen Whisky für die Zeit. Und ich date gern habe, du bist dabei. Maria, geht fahrt mal weg, ist weit. Wann ich geh, ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht, was ich mach, du sehst nicht, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watsch sehen. Hab kriegt mein Zettel für den langen Weg. Du scheinst da, als wir finden kann. Es hat Maria und Dale ganz wunderbar. Hass ich dir den weißen Dank. Wann ich geh, ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht, was ich mach, du sehst nicht, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watch sehen. Well, good Abend, liebe Leid. Good evening, dear friends. We are back with another episode of PA Dutch Live, the June edition. Oh my goodness, it is so good to be with all of you. If you are joining us for the first time here on the show or at our channel here on YouTube, welcome. And if you're joining for the umpteenth time, welcome as well, as we say in Pennsylvania Dutch. Whether you're joining us on the YouTube channel or you're joining us on our Facebook page, PA Dutch 101, put in the comment section where you are joining us from so I can give you guys some shout outs. And there's tons of people already lighting this up. So I got some shout outs to give. Here we go. Started off with Titus Keller, the Michigan Kellers from Buffalo Springs, Lepton County, and Bummelsdorf, Berks County. All right. And our good friend Don Moyer, he joins us every month. Ich wohne in Midlothian, Virginia. Bill aus Dillsburg, Gute Oras, Yarrick County. We got York County checking in. BioT joins us all the time. Hi, all. Todd out in Tucson, 108 degrees. Todd, it's getting hot here. I'll talk a little bit more about the weather in a little bit because I have some stuff I do want to say, but you can have the 108 degrees, Todd. Tell us to haze for me. That's too hot for me. Cindy Persing, hello from Riverside, Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining us, Cindy. Our good friend David Huntsinger, greetings from Lehigh County. Boy, it is good to have you with us, David. And Brigitte, our good friend. Hi, Philly. Hi from Philly, Doug. That's great. Thanks for joining us. The Wispassers are joining us from Fleetwood as they always do. Hey, Wispassers, I just saw your post on Facebook today about your son's banjo schedule. Holy cow, he's all over the place. Congrats, Jacob. Keep up the great work. Lenora Holt joining us from Lakeland, Florida. She joins us every month. We got our good friend Norman Jung staying up after midnight across the big ocean. Steinbach am Glan im Alderland, so stay over there in the old country back in Germany. Cynthia joining us. Hello from Topeka, Kansas. Well, welcome, Cynthia. It's good to have you here. Derek joins us almost every month. Gute Obit von Wind Gap. Es ist heiß und schmodig. Yes, it is. And for those of you who don't speak Pennsylvania Dutch, Derek says, good evening from Wind Gap. It is hot and humid. Yeah. We'll talk about weather. I'm telling you. Ray Neff says Lehigh Furnace, Lehigh County. Hey, Ray, thanks for joining us. Dolly, our good friend, joins us every month. Hello from Fleetwood in beautiful Berks County. Our distant cousin, Carol, good evening from beautiful downtown Burnville. And we got AS, Andy von der Pals. Hey, Andy, it's good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Ich hoffe, es gut bei dir ist. And Janet Grimm from Vogelsville. Boy, we got a lot of people out there watching the show and telling us where we're from. We are all over the place. We got people staying up after midnight across the ocean to join us. We got people on the West Coast. We got all over PA. It's beautiful. I'm going to talk really quickly about this weather thing. So those of you that are friends of the channel know that every year I do. The glare on that's pretty bad. My apologies. My trusty Bears Almanac. This is their 200th anniversary edition for 2025. Every year I get one of these and I do a podcast episode about it. And I usually do a post here or there on our social media. And back in January, when I did my podcast episode about the upcoming year, 2025, I read this. And, you know, sometimes you read these and you forget about what they say. And you're like, I wonder if the old Bears Almanac was called it or not. Well, let me just read really quickly about weather in regards to this year 2025. We are under this is the year where Venus is the reigning planet, and what that means is under this planet the year is wet, sultry, and at times very hot. Now, for those of you watching in Pennsylvania, Bears Almanac Got it right. Because we've had nothing but where I live here in central Pennsylvania, we've had nothing but rain, 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 rain. And now it is sultry and hot. So gotta give the Bears people a shout out because they called the weather on that one. Ugh, but man, whatever. Hopefully it'll get a little bit better as the year progresses, but we shall see. I mean, it's not even summer yet. What, first day of summer is tomorrow, right? Maria. Oh, we'll see. Hey, got Stephen Berners joining us from Bartow, PA. Welcome, Steve. It's good to have you here. Well, dear friends, let's get right into it. We got a great show coming at you tonight. We're gonna have special guest Patrick Donmoyer, a good friend of the channel who's been on as a guest on PA Dutch Live multiple times. And he's going to be telling us all about this Pennsylvania Dutch Day Festival, Pennsylvania German Day Festival that I've been advertising on the show the last couple months. But we're going to do a deep dive on what's going to be happening and how you can join that day. There's multiple opportunities, both in person and via Zoom. And we'll talk about that in our interview. We also got a poem in Pennsylvania Dutch and, of course, a song coming up. But let's start with this month's sponsors are... So this month's episode is brought to us by the good people at Wayhar Farms. That is on Route 183, just outside of Burnville. For my money, the best ice cream in all of PA Dutch country. I know that's strong words, and I posted that online not too long ago, and I got a lot of hate that you're not taking into account this place. And what about this place? What about this place? Look, I'm sure, look, I have a hard time finding a place that makes ice cream that I don't like, to be honest, but I have been eating Wayhar's ice cream since I was a little kid, and it will always have the special place in my heart. And whenever we are home visiting family, or most times when we're home, we make a swing into Wayhar to pick up a milkshake to power us on the way home. So, dear friends, if you are in that greater Southeast Pennsylvania region, I highly recommend a stop at Wayhar Farms. It's ice cream made from their own milk, from their own cows. It is delicious. Try their stuff. And they have a little country store there where they have baked goods, fresh shoe fly pies, tons of other things, all PA Dutch stuff. Great place. Check out Wayhar. They are great people. Family owned, PA Dutch through and through. We got John Renninger, Mount Pocono, PA, joining us. Carol, who lives outside of Burnville, says, "You betcha, Doug. Wayhar is the best." I agree. All right, I got quite a lot of dates for you guys to put on your upcoming PA Dutch calendars. So let's jump right in. As I've been advertising, we got this big German/Pennsylvania Dutch music tour happening, the Hibbity Driva Pennsylvania Tour 2025. You're going to have 4 opportunities to see our good friend Scott Regan, the Blow Barrier, who's been on the show, performing with Pelzer Krischer, a band coming over from Altrip, which is the partner city to Kutztown, Pennsylvania. They are coming from the area of Germany where the Pennsylvania Dutch, or a lot of the Pennsylvania Dutch, come from. So you have 4 opportunities. They'll be playing at the Berks History Center, the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center, Dillinger Schoolhouse in their annual pilgrimage in Zionsville, and also the Schwenkfelder there on the 27th, 28th, 29th of June. So mark your calendars if you can make one of those events. Please do. It's a great opportunity to see, Scott, who'll be singing in Pennsylvania Dutch, and you'll have this other band, this Pelzer Krischer, that'll be doing stuff in their dialect, their Palatinate dialect, which is really similar to Pennsylvania Dutch. And we have this blending of the two cultures. It'll be a great show. Plus, the music's going to be awesome. So mark those on your calendar if you are able to head out to one of those events. We're going to be talking a lot about this, but as advertised last couple of months, Pennsylvania German Day is the 28th of June. We'll find out why they chose this day to do that event at the Kutztown Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center at Kutztown University. But the whole show is going to be about this, so I'm going to just kind of keep on moving because I got tons of other dates. Our good friend, a good friend of the channel, Fred Fritsch. Peter's long gone, but a talented artist. Fred Fritsch, our good friend from the greater Kutztown area, has been doing these PA Dutch nights at the Kutztown Beneficial Association. That's the new name at the Kutztown Fire Company. They have a restaurant and a bar there at the Kutztown Fire Company downstairs. Now they call themselves the Kutztown Beneficial Association. So he's been doing these monthly get-togethers where they sing songs, they play games, they learn some Pennsylvania Dutch. It's a real laid-back atmosphere. And every month they seem to be getting more and more people coming out. So they do have, he set some dates for the summer. June 5th already happened, but July 10th, the 17th, August 7th, and August 14th. No membership needed to go to these. Like, you don't have to belong to the fire company to visit. If you live in the greater Kutztown area, seriously, get down to one of these. Fred does great stuff. It's a fun night. Any level of PA Dutch learner there, from the very beginners to people that are native speakers, check out one of these great events. He always calls me right before he's going to have one and lets me know what they're going to be doing. And then he usually calls me afterward and says, hey, we had a great night. So I've heard nothing but good things. So put these on your calendars, please. Hey, we got a couple other people checking in real quick. Randy Howarder says, good evening, Doug, checking in from New Berlin, Texas, but grew up in New Berlinville, Berks County. And Autumn Wormworth, hello from Rochester, New York, the Finger Lakes area. I know that area really well, Autumn. Thanks for joining us. Some other things for your calendars. The good people at the North Heidelberg United Church of Christ will be doing they do these summer concert series, and they're always free. So it's a great event if you're in the greater Western Berks County region. On the 22nd of June, that's this Sunday, at 7 p.m. will be a free concert by the band Days of Old, which is a bluegrass group, all local PA Dutch boys, and it is free. As I said, if the weather's good, they'll be outside in the church grove there. If it rains, you'll go into the church, and there's going to be ice cream available for purchase and hot dogs as well. It's a good old fashioned church picnic, music concert. What more could you ask for? Especially if it's a beautiful weather, that'd be a great night. Also, and I advertised this last month as well, the 79th annual Dillingersville Pilgrimage, which is on the 29th of June in Zionsville, PA, is another big Pennsylvania Dutch kind of get together where that Pennsylvania Dutch band, where the Blaubarer and the Pelzer Kirche, that German band, are going to be performing. So that's another opportunity to see them. And this is, if you're on social media, you've probably been following this, coming up over the 4th of July weekend, when normally the Kutztown Folk Festival used to take place, will now be the Eastern PA Homestead Festival. And as you can see by their advertisement, they will be paying homage to the Kutztown Folk Festival. I'm not quite sure what that means. And full disclosure, I reached out to the director of this new festival multiple times and asked him if he'd be a guest on the show to talk about this new festival, and never responded to any of my emails. So I gave him a shot. So I really don't know what's all going to be happening. I mean, I've seen some of their stuff on social media, but it hasn't been really detailed. There's going to be vendors, craftsmen, workshops, kids activities, live music, food. I know that. And you can check out more at easternpahomesteadfestival.com. Tried to get him on the show, but well, didn't want to get on, I guess. Another opportunity for you for a free concert at the North Heidelberg United Church of Christ. And this is a really good one because I know that this band is top notch. They're one of my favorite bands to listen to. The Broken Spokes will be performing Sunday, July 13th, 2025 at 6 p.m. And that'll be at North Heidelberg UCC, which is in Rappasonia, just outside of Rappasonia. Same deal. It's a free concert. Bring your lawn chairs. If the weather's nice, we'll be outside in the Grove. If it's rainy, we'll be in the church. And there's going to be ice cream and hot dogs available for purchase. I'd love to see you guys. This will be the first time that most of you will get the opportunity to hear our new band member, Emily, there. For years, as many of you know, it was just Chris and me. But we recently had Emily Nieblock, who is Chris's lady friend, join the band. And boy, does she add just a lot to the show. So we'll be doing old-timey Appalachian. We'll be doing some Pennsylvania Dutch music. It's going to be a good night of music, jokes, and fun. So mark your calendars. I'd love to have you there if you can make it. I'm not done. I got more stuff going on. The famous Goshen Hoppen Folk Festival will be coming up August 8th and 9th. To learn more, check out their website or their Facebook page. They do a wonderful festival that is authentic, and you really get to see how the Pennsylvania Dutch used to live hundreds of years ago. It is a fantastic festival. If you can make it there on the 8th or 9th down there in Bucks, Montgomery County region, please go. You will not be sorry that you did. One last thing for your calendars. August 23rd will be the PA German Farm Festival at the historic Dreibelbis Farm, just outside of Wirchensville there in Berks County. It's another great opportunity. They're doing tons of things on the farm that day. You can learn more if you go to their Facebook page. I think probably have a website too. Just look up Historic Dreibelbis Farm. They do a lot of things throughout the year, but this is a really big event for them. That is August 23rd. I want to share a photo that a good friend of mine took, Glenn Riegel, who is a really talented photographer in the Tulpehocken area of Berks County. Our good friend Eric Claypool just recently repainted the Distelfink statue at the Berks County, what the heck, at Grings Mill there. And anyway, just got it. She got a brand new paint coat of paint, and you can see just absolutely beautiful. And Glenn snapped this phato the other day. Just beautiful, right? How Pennsylvania Dutch is that? Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. All right, let's do our hee-haw style salute to some town out there in the greater Pennsylvania Dutch country region. And this time we're going to, it's a tiny one, Malltown, which is in Berks County, Pennsylvania. Many of you watching this are like, where the heck is that? I've never even heard of that. Well, if you blink when you're driving through Mulltown, you will miss it, because as far as I could figure out, there's about 75 people that count in the population there, but it's an old little town. It's just outside of Massillum Springs and Virginville and Fleetwood. It's in that region there. The reason I know Mulltown so well is the church that our family church that I grew up in, Becker St. Peter's Lutheran Church, is located in the little town of Mulltown, Pennsylvania. And I wanted to give them a shout out to all the good people in Mulltown. All right, man, I've been going dates. It's time to get into the whole point of the show, and that's to welcome our good friend Patrick Donmoyer, who is the director of the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center at Kutztown University, to talk about this awesome event that they have planned called the Pennsylvania German Day. And I have to admit, full disclosure, Patrick is a super busy guy, and we weren't able to schedule that he came live on the show. So last week, now that school's out, I have a little bit more free time, and I was able to record an interview with Patrick during his work day, which allowed him to actually be able to talk with us. So this is a recorded interview from just last week, but it's going to go through the whole details of this new festival that's coming up. So just give me a second to share my screen here. I'm going to pull myself out and enjoy this interview with our good friend Patrick Donmoyer. All right, everybody. We are sitting here with our good friend, Patrick Donmoyer, the director of the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center at Kutztown University. He's been on the show many times. In fact, Patrick was our very first guest on the very first episode of PA Dutch Live. He's always been a supporter of the channel, and we, of course, support everything that he does and the important work that he does at the Heritage Center. But we have Patrick on this month to talk a little about a very special event that's going to be taking place at the Heritage Center on the 28th of June. But first, Patrick, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Doug. It is a pleasure being back with you. I had forgotten briefly that I was involved with the inaugural episode, and it's been a little while, but
it has.
You're still making this show and keeping things going.
We appreciate all that you've done and helped us along the way, Patrick, but I can't wait to dig into this topic today because I think it's super exciting. And I'm sure we have to talk a little bit briefly about the quote unquote elephant in the room. Most people that are watching the show are aware of the Kutztown Folk Festival and that it is not taking place this summer as it has for the last umpteen years. Can you just briefly tell us a little bit about, what's going on?
Yeah, sure. This would have been the 75th year that the festival ran as the America's oldest folk life festival, oldest running folk life festival in the United States. This decision was not taken lightly by any stretch of the imagination. After severe financial struggles for several years, the festival chose not to hold this year's annual festival. There was a brief discussion about whether or not an individual or another organization might be willing to take on the operation, which would really be a major commitment due to the fact that this would have been, $1 million budget. So it's a really big operation. It's bigger than some people know. And the decision, was released in December. I know that there are other festivals, adjacent festivals, and other things happening throughout the region, some of which are happening on the same date, but the Kutztown Folk Fest is no longer happening. And for those of us who've been involved for many years, we're not only going through a little bit of community grief about this, of course, but then also, as we look to the future, we're looking for new ways to try to strengthen some of the programming that was essential to the festival. And that's part of why we decided to hold Pennsylvania German Day for the very first time this year at the Heritage Center.
You said exactly what I was thinking. There are a lot of people that when this news broke had to deal with it. It was a loss. It was a true loss for some people that it's been part of their lives, their entire lives. Maybe they've worked at the festival or they've gone every year. So there is this period of grief and mourning that I think the greater Pennsylvania Dutch community had to go through. And I know that online I got tons of really impassioned comments and posts on my social media about all of this, and they just couldn't believe it. And I mean, it was truly people were expressing their anger, but also their disbelief, their grief that this was not happening. And I'm so happy that you and some other people decided we can't just close the door, turn the lights out, and leave and not let anything there. There's too much of our too much importance to tell and to continue to tell the Pennsylvania Dutch story. So let's let's look at this brand new event that you guys have coming up on the 28th of June. I think first and foremost, that date was chosen for a certain reason. Can you tell us why June 28th is a special date?
Yeah, June 28th was selected by the PA legislature as the official date for Pennsylvania German Day. And this was decided back, I want to say, in 1983, perhaps, which would have been the 300th anniversary of the arrival of the Concorde in 1683, which, of course, was the first boat of transatlantic German-speaking immigrants who arrived at Philadelphia and who established Germantown. So this was a really important thing. I know that there were also some rumblings about Pennsylvania German Day and that particular day being so significant, even as of back in the 70s. And if you even go back 100 years before that, there was a bicentennial. So there have been multiple times in the fact that, I should say, back in the 1880s, there was a bicentennial of the arrival of the Concorde. So this has been a day that's been observed for many, many years as being significant to the Pennsylvania Dutch, as Philadelphia is the gateway for immigration. And that's part of why we've approached this event with a transatlantic lens, partially why we're featuring some program from here in Pennsylvania, and then also from some of our friends across the ocean who are joining us for this event as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that because that's an exciting part of the day for sure. So when you decided, or whoever was with you when you decided to create this event, what was in the back of your head saying these are the things that we definitely want to do or highlight, and why?
Well, I think for many of us, we've been grateful to have had the opportunity for so many years to highlight dialect programming, Pennsylvania Dutch language programming on the seminar stage at the Kutztown Folk Festival. And Bill Donner has run that for over, I want to say, 30 plus years. And the lovely thing about that is that this was a community stage. It was not there to, bring an income or anything like that, other than the fact that it added a significant educational component to the Kutztown Folk Festival's programming. And we felt like, especially things like the Pennsylvania Dutch Writers Festival, which is known as Schrijverfest, is one of those things that just can't go away. It can't stop for a year. Every year, this is a gathering of writers, many of whom were students of Pennsylvania Dutch, who were not only learning to speak the language, but learning to write it as a way to engage with the language, develop their skill. And I know myself, as a person who studied Pennsylvania Dutch as a second language, starting back, I want to say, in 2005, I've been doing what I could to participate in the Writers Festival every single year. I didn't want to see this go away. One of the other things was the Liars Contest. And the Liars Contest goes back to the 1940s, back when Reverend Clarence Ron won each consecutive year for slinging the bull. He even got a trophy. It was a golf trophy that was altered that showed him swinging, but he was holding the horn of a bull. So it was an old tradition in this area that speakers of Pennsylvania Dutch would gather together, and these were ministers, sometimes lawyers, doctors, scholars, who would gather together and tell stories, and they would have to tell the biggest whopper in Pennsylvania Dutch. And many people know, of course, that tall tales and stretching of the truth are kind of a linchpin of Pennsylvania Dutch humor. We're self-deprecating, but we also like to exaggerate. And of course, it's understood that we're exaggerating.
Right.
We're not trying to fleece anybody or pull the wool over anybody's eyes.
Right.
It's just part of how the storytelling process unfolds among the Pennsylvania Dutch. And this is something that was done every year. Donald Breininger every year was kind of one of the preeminent ones, along with Dave Adam. And Dave Adam and Gene Adam are also going to be joining us this year for Pennsylvania German Day to do a bit of a, what shall I say, an homage to the Liars Contest. So these are some of the things that we're planning to do, but we also have a couple other things in mind as well that touch base a little bit on the arts and the music and some of the different aspects of especially Pennsylvania Dutch language programming that otherwise would not be taking place because the festival is not happening.
So let's talk about you're also going to have some vendors. So let's talk about the art. You mentioned art. What kind of things might people see or experience if they travel to visit?
Well, so I should state, we don't actually have vendors at this event. So it's a
Okay.
strictly non-commercial event. The artist that we're featuring for the day is Ben Rader. who has done a tremendous amount of work. You've been featured in at least one of his
Yeah,
paintings,
yeah. And he's been on the show
Ben,
too. So
absolutely.
yeah,
And Ben has done a tremendous job of being able to kind of pioneer a distinctive hybrid of
yeah,
visual imagery that is immediately recognizable to people among the Pennsylvania Dutch community as resonating with our culture, its values, its aesthetics. Images of traditional motifs and language overlayered with images of people that he chose to highlight as bearers of tradition in our communities and people who were significant to him, his family experience, his cultural experience. And I really feel like Ben's message is not only extremely positive and
yeah,
forward facing, something
yeah,
about thinking about what we're leaving behind for those who will come after us, how we're looking to the future. I've
yeah.
always seen Ben as being very progressive in that respect. Ben is also a musician, and hopefully he'll talk a little bit about that, but he's going to be doing an artist talk at our event.
Oh, okay.
And this is going to be an opportunity for him to not only show his work, but also talk about it in his own words, because he weaves poetry in with
Mm,
different aspects about what he's doing. He had been presenting portions of that poetry at Schreiberfest previous years. He did a series called Heimat Kunst, which literally means like art of the homeland or art of the home, depending on how you look at it. And these are all resonating with his idea of how he relates to not only his feeling of home as a person, but his cultural feeling of home, and what that means as having, a family that's also transatlantic, because his wife's
yeah,
family, of course, is from Germany. And so he's got a new generation of children who are growing up with parents from experiences on both sides of the Atlantic.
mhm,
So I think his voice as an artist is very significant at this time, giving us an opportunity to really resonate with our values as a transatlantic event,
yeah.
and a transatlantic artist.
Well, that's a perfect segue because we have to talk about, I mean, the headline, when you look at the graphic that you guys created to advertise for this, the biggest pictures are dealing specifically with this band that's coming over
Mhm.
from Germany. So let's talk about the transatlantic aspect
Yeah.
of this event, please.
Yeah, so the band Pelzer Krischer is going to be headlining along with Scott Reagan, whose act is called De Blue Barrier. So the guy from up on the Blue Mountain, literally, is
Yep.
how you translate that. And so Pelzer Krischer is a band coming out of Altrip, and Altrip is the sister city of Kutztown. And this sister city partnership was established, I want to say, back in 2020 or
Yeah, I think so.
2021. I was part of the initial conversations for that. It started with rounds of letter writing during the pandemic
That's right.
when people in Kutztown were writing to folks in Altrip and vice versa, talking about like what they hope to get out of this opportunity to connect across the ocean, similarities in culture, memories of language, of different aspects of the culture that people would find in common, and also especially today's experiences of being from two different countries, geographically separated, and yet sharing values and
Yeah.
this interest in connecting over those values. So this has been an ongoing thing. We've had the mayor of Altrip, Volker Mansky, come and visit, along with many people from Altrip, to Kutztown Folk Festival last year. And this is just a wonderful thing to be able to continue that partnership.
Yeah.
And Pelzer Krischer is going to be playing Palatine folk music. And so this will be highlighting the similarities of the language of the Pfalz with Pennsylvania Dutch, which many of us are already very familiar with, that these languages can be spoken side by side. They share a ton in common. They have a little bit of a different sound, but so much of the essential components of the languages are the same. And it gives people an opportunity to hear a little bit about how this transatlantic language, our Palatine German, developed on both sides of the Atlantic, somewhat independently, but can still come together for meaningful
Right.
experiences. And
So
Scott Reagan's going to be playing along with them as well. Scott had been part of the Hiva v Driva exchange as well, had been playing in Germany, and was extremely well
yeah.
received for his Pennsylvania Dutch language music. And this has been really exciting to have both playing at the event.
Yeah, it's gonna be, I mean, it's an awesome opportunity for both musicians, of course, but for, and I applaud you guys for bringing a band like this over, or getting involved to allow them to perform, to show these similarities between, you know, the old homeland and where we are now. And even though there's these 300 years or plus that have separated us, there's still, like, we keep coming back to shared culture, shared values, shared norms. I think it's important for us to see that. And I know from being over in that region of Germany as many times as I've been, and you know this too, that the desire for the Germans over there to connect with us is really strong. They really connect with our culture, and they see themselves in us. And I just think that's for far too long we didn't have that connection, and now we, over the last couple of years, we've been building and working on that. I think it only is giving us more opportunity to grow that connection. And as you know, in the world that we're living in, if we can be building bridges and bringing cultures together, that's really important in my mind, to make us a better place and better people. So let's get the details about June 28th. So we have Pennsylvania German Day, June 28th, and it runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yes.
Where is it? And if somebody wants to go, what do they need to do?
Absolutely. So it is being held at the Delight E. Breitingham Building, headquarters of the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center. It's being held in our large library room, which we will be adapting for the event. The event starts at 10 a.m. and runs until 3, and schedule is going to be released very shortly online later this week. For folks who want to participate, you have to register because it is limited seating, and we already have a good number of people registering. So if you want to, please strike while the iron's hot, reach out to us and get on that list. It is free to register, and you can't beat it. It's a 5-hour program with light refreshments and coffee provided. So for folks who want to come out, this is a great opportunity to connect, not only with all of the great programming that's happening, but with other people who are attending. You'll also be able to see our exhibitions and other different aspects of what we're doing here at the Heritage Center. And we're really in the heart of the Heritage Center, in the research library and archives, which is actually where this whole event is taking place. Our location is at 15155 Kutztown Road, which is right along the main stretch, just along the edge of the university in Kutztown. It is not at the farm. It is at our headquarters. So this is everyone who registers will get information about that. You can also join via Zoom, and we'll be sending out a Zoom link just before the event to all those who let us know that they would like to attend via Zoom. They can give us their email address, and we will be sending that out to them so that they can participate. The last event that we ran as a partially virtual event, as a hybrid event, was when Dr. Josh Brown from Wisconsin was out with us, speaking about Pennsylvania Dutch, past, present, and future. And we had more people online than we had in person for that event. So I'm hoping that we're going to have a similar turnout online, because I know that Kutztown is geographically not necessarily the easiest for everybody who's enthusiastic about the language to get to. And that might sound funny, because for many of us who are here in southeastern Pennsylvania, we often have our blinders on, and we assume that just people in southeastern Pennsylvania are interested in this topic, and that's not true at all. In fact, we'll have people join us from across the ocean. In Europe, we'll also have folks joining us from all over the United States, and also Canada. And so this is a really important thing to recognize, that our Pennsylvania German community is actually spread out throughout the world. And as we move forward and really think about the spirit behind Pennsylvania German Day, this is more than just about celebrating our very localized efforts. This is really about recognizing that, yes, we are, as Kutztown, in the cultural hearth region of settlement here for the Pennsylvania Dutch diaspora, but we are also one stop of many when we're thinking about the trajectory of the culture and the people, their descendants, their cultural influence, the traditions. They're all over the world. And so this is a really important thing for us to remember moving forward about who we are as Pennsylvania Dutch people. It's not just about a solitary local experience, but one that has continued to grow and change and spread out throughout the world.
I mean, that's true for the people that watch this show every month. You'll know when we give the shout outs at the beginning. I mean, we have more people joining from outside of Pennsylvania than we have from joining within. So
Absolutely.
Patrick is absolutely right. And if somebody wants to register to attend this event, either Zoom or in person, how do they go about doing that, Patrick?
Well, they can reach out to us. I think the simplest way is to send us an email at heritage@kutztown.edu, or you can call us at 610-683-1589. You're still going to have to provide us with an email address if you're registering for Zoom. We don't typically give a Zoom link over the phone, so email's probably the easiest way to reach out. But if you'd like to call to register to be there in person, feel free to give us a telephone call. And we're looking forward to having a great turnout. We recognize that this event is going to be somewhat small in the sense that we can really only fit about 75 people in our space. So it's not a huge event, but we really feel like it's an important opportunity for us to make sure that not just the 75 people in the room are getting the opportunity to connect with this event, but broader. So
Yeah.
please take full advantage of that Zoom link and join us for the event. We're really excited to be able to showcase all this wonderful talent. And I mentioned Schreiberfest. We have people who are also going to be contributing poetry, and it's going to be interspersed throughout the program
Oh, that's cool.
as
Yeah,
a way to try to bring together the various components of the show. And
sure.
this is really going to be a unique event, and we're envisioning it as the first of many. So the idea is
Yeah,
that this is
good.
going to become an annual event for us that has the capacity to grow and change in tandem with the level of interest and the resources that we have. We're starting off a little bit small, and I think small is beautiful.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
there's some times where when we look at these bigger events like the Kutztown Folk Festival, it can be really challenging to sustain something that grows
sure.
so large that financial challenges can really
Yeah,
compromise whether or not that event is going to be sustainable for the future. And so
yeah.
we're really looking at sustainability here at the Heritage Center in terms of how our programming is going to be developed. And we're going to do that thoughtfully and make sure that we can keep things going and meet that community interest, because the interest has not gone away.
You're right.
The enthusiasm is still there. The talent is still there. We just need opportunities to be able to gather together and express that.
Yeah, I think if anything, the interest continues to grow. In all honesty, I mean, that's what I see on my
Absolutely.
end with the stuff that I do. So it is. I just want to thank you and whoever else was involved in putting this all together to help. Continue to tell our story. I really, it really pains me that I'm not able to attend this inaugural event. I will be overseas, but I know it's going to be a success because I know the people involved in it, and they are all, the best of the best in regards to the Pennsylvania Dutch world. So again, I can't wait to hear how it all goes down and how everything is received. I know it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful event. So everybody, I'll show the graphic card that the Heritage Center created with information again after our interview's over. So if people for the email address, etc., to register. But one real quick thing, Patrick, before I let you go, right before
Sure.
we started recording this, we were talking about some stuff, and I think it's important for our audience to hear the one part that we talked about. So the Cultural Heritage Center is part of Kutztown University,
Mhm.
and there is a Pennsylvania German Studies minor available and other
Yes.
opportunities at the university for students to connect with the center and with Pennsylvania German Studies. So just briefly, we have, if somebody's out there who has a son or a daughter or a grandchild or a niece or a nephew that's thinking of going to college and they are interested in Pennsylvania Dutch stuff, Pennsylvania German studies, and they attend Kutztown, what would be available to them? What could they experience? What would they do if they were a student there and would get involved with the center or in this program of the Pennsylvania German minor?
Absolutely. So there are a wide range of different things here at Kutztown University, programmatically, that students can get involved in to have unique experiences to emphasize their interest in Pennsylvania Dutch and Pennsylvania German studies. So we have currently here at the university a Pennsylvania German minor studies program. It allows students to create an additional specialization in their area of interest for Pennsylvania Dutch culture and language, and it gives them the opportunity to tailor that minor program to whatever their major might be. And we've had students from a wide range of different backgrounds, oftentimes from the humanities. Up until recently, it was a lot of anthropology students, but we've also had German students in the past. We've had art history students. We've had art majors in general. We've had folks who are from library science. We've had students from a wide range of different backgrounds who recognize that the Heritage Center is a unique place for educational experiences that they will find nowhere else. And so what we try to do here at the Heritage Center is we take on students as internships. Internships are one portion of the requirements for the minor. We connect students with meaningful projects, with original primary source documents and materials in our archive, emphasizing everything from 18th century printing traditions to folk theater among the Pennsylvania Dutch. Those are just some of the things we dealt with just this past semester. We've got students who are interested in learning more about the arts and the visual aspects of the culture and its traditions. We have students who create online exhibitions, who catalog aspects of our collection in the archive for future generations to be able to use for research and inspiration. I can't stress enough that the archive is one of the most important things that we're working on right now, in that it preserves significant aspects of our history that otherwise we would be forgetting about, because there is so much material, so much that has happened within the culture over a long period of time, especially efforts to use the language in a wide range of formats. We've got an entire portion of our archive, and actually the most largest portion of our archive, dedicated to Pennsylvania Dutch language preservation events, such as the Groundhog Lodges, the Versamlings, the dialect church services, the dialect playwrights and poets, all these different people whose energy has gone into paving the way for what we're doing today. We are honoring them by preserving their their legacy here at the Heritage Center. And this is a wonderful thing for students, because one of the things I think that is so important is for us to be able to see ourselves in the archive. We have to know that our needs and our specific interests are not solitary. We're not isolated people set adrift looking to a future that's uncertain. We are undergirded and supported by generations of people who shared our interests, our experiences, and who can contribute to positively cultivating those interests. And so this is a really important thing for us, especially looking to new generations of people who may either identify as Pennsylvania Dutch and may be coming here because they have a strong interest in that. People who maybe say, well, my family's Pennsylvania Dutch, but I don't know enough about it, and I want to cultivate that interest further. Then there are other people who are like, I'm not Pennsylvania Dutch at all, but I'm here at Kutztown, and I live in this region, and I'm having a distinctive experience in this region that's meaningful, and I want to explore that more. You also find students who say, I want to get experiences working in a museum and a library, and I want to hone those skills. It's such an important thing to recognize that both museum work and library work, and this has echoes in things like art history, public history, all kinds of different things. Folks are essentially, they're honing their skills to help preserve this type of experience for future generations, to be able to communicate about that, and to tell the Pennsylvania Dutch story as being part of a broader human family. So these are some of the things we do at the Heritage Center. We try to really make sure that our values are being put forth regarding preservation and education, and embracing the full picture of the Pennsylvania Dutch community, past and present, and looking forward to a vibrant future.
And you do it so well, Patrick. You and everybody else involved there. You continue to tell our story in a wonderfully good way, as we'd say in Pennsylvania Dutch English. So I want to thank you for providing those opportunities, and I'm thankful that the university continues to support the Heritage Center, and we of course hope that that continues in the years to come. Again, everybody, regardless of the June 28th event, if you can make it or not, the Heritage Center is open to the public. If you have a day off and you want to go, please go check it out. There's always something, there's always an exhibit going on that you can check out. There's the archive. And I'm sure if you let Patrick know ahead of time that you're popping in and you have something that you're really interested in, he could probably tailor a visit to your needs, depending on what those needs are. So Patrick, again, from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of all us Dutchy hearts, thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for working to put together this June 28th event. It's going to be an awesome event. And hopefully, as you said, I hope so too, that this is something that turns into hopefully an annual event every year around the 28th of June, another way for us and an avenue for us to continue to tell our story and celebrate our story too, which I think is important for us to do so that we continue to make these connections. Patrick, thanks again for everything. I hope that you have a great turnout. I know you will on the 28th. And thank you for your continued support of all that we're doing here at PA Dutch 101. And we look forward to talking with you again in the near future, dear friend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Doug. Thanks for having me here on the show. It's great to be back. Thank you for all you do to support us at the center and more broadly for the Pennsylvania Dutch culture, both sides of the Atlantic and all throughout the world. You're doing wonderful work. And it is a pleasure to have this collegial relationship where we can connect over these meaningful things and help to continue to spread the word. It takes a lot of us doing it together. And you are pulling a huge amount of the load right now. And I really appreciate that.
Thank you for those kind words. We'll continue to pull together. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
All right, Max gut, mein Freund.
Ja, du all. And schaff nicht zu hart.
Ja, ich do nicht. All right, dear friends, how about that? You got all the deets, as the kids are saying these days. Although some people do want to get a couple more information. Let me just pull this into the stream. So that is what the German Cultural Heritage Center looks like. It is not at the farm, but you're going to turn right off of the main road in Kutztown if you ever want to go visit, or if you're interested in actually taking part on the June 28th day. Someone had asked about the information really quickly. I got to go back and find it. It is here. So it is June 28th. As Patrick said, you can go physically in person, but you have to register, or you can join via Zoom. Great opportunity for those of you that don't live in the area. So you'll be able to partake just as much as anybody that's going to be there. So you can email again. It's heritage@kutztown.edu, and that's KUTZTOWN for those that don't know about Kutztown. heritage@kutztown.edu. Send them an email so that you can get registered for the event, either digitally on Zoom or in person. It is going to be an awesome day. There's a lot. I mean, some of the names that we mentioned today are all good friends of ours. Dave and Gene Adams and Ben Rader and Scott Regan. And it's the who's who of the Pennsylvania Dutch movers and shakers, I guess, the people that are doing the work. And it'll be an awesome opportunity. So please head out. I know someone else had said, I think there's still just a little bit of confusion, and that's okay. So again, just so we're all clear, as we mentioned, the Kutztown Folk Festival is not happening. That is done. I think it's safe for me to say that I don't know if that will ever come back. And if it does, it will most likely never come back in the same form that it was for the last 74 years. Now, there's this event that Patrick just told us about on the 28th of June. There is also a brand new event called the Eastern PA Homestead Festival that is taking place July 3rd through the 6th at the Kutztown Fairgrounds, which is where the folk festival always took place. So it's only a 4-day event, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 4-day event. They're going to have some people that have been at the folk festival. I know like Eric Claypool's going to be there. Rob Moletsky's going to be there selling hex signs and things like that. So there will be some people that if you've gone to the folk festival and you go, you'll recognize. There's also going to be like the Lester Miller Hoedowning Band is going to be there and performing. As far as I know, again, I reached out to this director of this new festival to have him as a guest on the show so he could tell us all about it, but never returned my messages. So you're just going to have to. They have a website, easternpahomesteadfestival.com. Again, this is a totally separate event. I honestly don't know how much PA Dutch themed stuff is going to be happening at this event. It's kind of tough to tell from the website. So that's just something you're going to have to check out. I don't know what it costs to get in. Again, check out their website, easternpahomesteadfestival.com. That is one event. And the one that we were talking about with Patrick, that's on the 28th of June. That is at the Heritage Center there at Kutztown University. So, don't mix the two up. They're two completely separate events, but you can learn more online for both of them. All right. So there it is. Don't forget, June 28th, heritage@kutztown.edu. Hopefully that cleared some things up. Our Pennsylvania Dutch poem for the night is one that so I get this a lot. I've gotten this email from tons of people like, my grandfather used to say this rhyme to me when I was a little kid. He'd bounce me on his knee, but I don't know what it was. All I know is it's some Reidi, Geili. I get that. If I had $1 for every time I got an email about this poem, I'd have a couple bucks. Anyway, I figured, you know what? Let's take this old Pennsylvania Dutch nursery rhyme, and for those of you that maybe remember this being told to you when you were a little kid, or maybe you told it to your grandchildren, here it is. I have the Pennsylvania Dutch on the left-hand side. I have the English on the right. This is a pretty famous Pennsylvania Dutch nursery rhyme, all about a horse, a little horse. So I'll read the Pennsylvania Dutch. You can follow along either on the Pennsylvania Dutch side or on the English side. Here we go. Reidi, Geili. Reidi, Geili, alle Stund en Meili, geht's über der Stumpe, als Bobbli Nunna. Reidi, Geili, alle Stunden Meili, es Geili springt weg, falls Bubbeli in der Dreck. Reidi, Geili, alle Stunden Meili, geht's über der Stumpe, falsch wie ein alter Lumpe. So the thing is, you would put a little kid on your knee and you'd be bouncing them like they're riding on the horse. And then that last line of each of the lyrics of the, get whenever they go over the stump or the horse runs away, then you really bounce the kid a little bit more. It's it's a fun thing you can do with little kids. So if you grew up hearing that from your grandparents, there it is. Maybe you only remembered a line or two. Well, there's the whole thing. And there's probably more verses. These are the three that I know. There might be more verses out there. And people might have made up their own verses too, of course, as is the case with a lot of nursery rhymes. But that's just one that I thought I'd share with everybody tonight. Our song we have to throw out, and we're going to give a throwback to the Kutztown Folk Festival. Our good friend Keith Brintzenhoff, a well-known Pennsylvania Dutch musician. This is a performance of his. Let me share my screen again. From a couple of years ago at the Kutztown Folk Festival, and this is his version of "She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain," or in Pennsylvania Dutch, "Sie kommt rum de Barick." And for those of you that don't necessarily are really musically knowledgeable, you're going to notice he's going to be playing an instrument that maybe you don't recognize, or maybe you do recognize. It's the auto harp. And this is a traditional Pennsylvania Dutch instrument. It's a zither type instrument that you strum, and you'll see the strings. And it is a very old style instrument that is still played. Keith plays it a lot at performances that he does. So if you've never heard the auto harp, now you're going to get to hear it. Or if you've never seen somebody play it, you'll get to see him play it while singing this really popular song, "She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain." Most Americans know that, but it's going to be sung in Pennsylvania Dutch. So here we go.
Yeah, she come round the body, she come. Yeah, she come round the body, but she come. Yeah, she come round the body, no one she know the body. Yeah, she come round the body, but she come. Yeah, she poured 6 rice gallons, she come 6 white horses. She poured 6 rice gallons, and she come. Yeah, she poured 6 rice gallons, so she named me style. Yeah, she poured 6 rice gallons, and she come. Ja, maar start they out road Hana, want she come kill over rooster. Ja, maar start they out road Hana, want she come chop chop. Ja, maar start they out road Hana, want she met die krana. Ja, maar start they out road Hana, want she come. Yeah, Meryl and higgling net, once he cooked chicken and dumplings. All and higgling net, once he cooked yum yum. All and higgling net, no one a dick and fat. Yeah, all and higgling net, once he cooked. Yeah, Magdalena, she say no, once he cooked. Go out to see her. Magdalena, she say no, once he cooked. Hi, man. Magdalena, she say no, what Bessie is in Shana. Yeah, Magdalena, she say no, once he cooked. Yeah, she there road hustle once he come. Red pants. She there road hustle once he come. Road hustle. She there road hustle. Now I'm a see my buster. Yeah, she there road hustle once he come. Yeah, she come round the body. She come. Yeah, she come round the body, but she come. Yeah, she come round the body. No, she won't get spotted. Yeah, she come round the body, but she come.
Well, there you go, people. How about a little Pennsylvania Dutch folk music? How does that sound? Our good friend Keith Brintzenhoff. If you've never seen him play, you should check him out. He does a lot of shows throughout the year. We're getting here to the end, but we got a couple things I do want to tell you guys about, and then we will. Got some people. Bill Stillsberg says, my music teacher in elementary school played the auto harp for us. That really takes me back. Well, I'm glad. It's a great instrument and it's easy. It's one that anybody can learn to play because instead of having to hold all the strings down like on a guitar to make the chords, auto harp, you just push a button and all of a sudden you have a D chord, and then you push another button, all of a sudden you have a G chord. So it's an easy instrument to pick up, and there's tons of them out there. You can find them online for sale, and actually brand new ones aren't all that expensive either. So definitely, if you're looking for a new hobby, why not learn the auto harp? Because it's good fun. Hey, Luann joins us, says, good evening from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Thanks for joining us. All right, what else we got here? A couple things real quick. Hey, do you know we have a merch shop? I know most of you do, but in case you're watching the show for the first time, check out our PA Dutch themed merch at Zazzle.com/PA Dutch 101. We have some brand new stuff on there. Of course, these are things that we've been advertising, but we got a Pennsylvania Dutch coffee mug that says Ich bin Deutsch. For all you ladies out there, you can get a PA Dutch Mädel shirt, which means PA Dutch girl, a Pennsylvania Dutch girl. And we just had these. These are fresh. These are fresh. So I actually had a request for this. Do you know someone in your life that has a baby and they're Pennsylvania Dutch, or you'd like to make sure that that baby advertises Pennsylvania Dutch? We now have Pennsylvania Dutch themed onesies with a simple rosette style hex sign and the word Schnickelfritz, which of course some of you will recognize is what you call a kid that's kind of like, a little kid, Schnickelfritz. So check out that. And I also made these. So if you have that baby in your life or that young kid, I also made bibs that say my Schlabbertuch, and a Schlabbertuch is a bib in Pennsylvania Dutch. It brings me joy seeing that. So if you have someone in your life that has a baby or has a very, a toddler, infant, here's your opportunity to dress them up and show off their Pennsylvania Dutchness with a PA Dutch themed Schnickelfritz onesie or a PA Dutch themed My Schlabbertuch bib. I think that's good stuff. So check out our site. Of course, we have tons of other things: magnets, stickers, buttons, shirts, sweatshirts, all different kinds of things. Again, that is Zazzle.com/PA Dutch 101. If you like what we're doing here at the channel and you'd like to financially support us, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Doug Mainford, or you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. $1 a month, friends. You can go for more as well, but you can go for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/PA Dutch 101. And I want to give a shout out to some people that have recently financially supported the channel: Gary and Deanna Weaver, Glenn Ritter, Nathan Seeger, Seth Moak, Devin Miller, Norman Jung, Grunsau Lodge Nomatsea, Norman Berger, David Hunsinger, Dolly Moyer, Gary Johansson, Gail Spilsbury, Derek Deeds, and Tim Dedman. Thank you so much for all of your support. And if you join that list, I will put your name and give you a shout out next month. Speaking of which, mark your calendars. Our next episode of PA Dutch Live will be on Wednesday, July the 16th at 6 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel, also over on our Facebook page, PA Dutch 101. It's going to be an interesting show. I came across a gentleman by the name of Taj Magruder. You're going to look at that and say, well, that's not a very Pennsylvania Dutch name. And you're right, because he's not Pennsylvania Dutch. However, he recently published a book called In the Day of Trouble, and it's a novel, and it has major themes dealing with Braucherei and Pennsylvania Dutch powwowing. And I came across this book and I thought, well, that's interesting that someone that's from outside of our culture would tackle this issue and write about it in the form of a novel. So he's going to be on the show to talk about the book. And I really want to get a chance to talk to him about, why would you, from someone outside of the culture, what drew you to this? So we're going to learn about Taj and his book, In the Day of Trouble. That'll be our special guest next month, July 16th. We are still booking shows throughout. I have August and September planned. I got some great shows. The August show and the September show are going to be really, really good. We got some great topics. I'm going to not give it all away tonight, but just know that there's going to be some great stuff. But we have the rest of the fall is open at this point. So if you know somebody that you think would make a great guest on the show, or somebody that is doing something Pennsylvania Dutch themed that we'd like to highlight, shoot me an email, info@PADutch101, and I'll reach out and hopefully we could get them on the show. I mean, I'm not picky, if we can get somebody that has something Pennsylvania Dutch related, I'd love to highlight them on the channel. So if you know someone out there, maybe it's you, shoot me an email, info@PADutch101.com, and hopefully we could get you as a guest on the show. Dear friends, it is the end of another month, and I have to admit and tell you guys a little bit. On Sunday, I will be heading across the great ocean with 18 of my high school students to our partner school in Buchen, which is in southwestern Germany, not too far from the area where the Pennsylvania Dutch come from originally. And I'll be over there for 10 days with them, exchanging cultures with our German friends over there. So for those of you that follow along on Instagram and Facebook, I might be a little quiet for those 10 days because a little bit of responsibility going on there, making sure I got 18 kids that are doing what they're supposed to do. And, they're all teenagers, and teenagers can be teenagers. So my hands full, but they're great kids. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome trip as long as the world doesn't blow up between now and then. And then I'll get back on the 3rd of July, and then it'll be back into mode of Pennsylvania Dutch stuff throughout the rest of the summer. As we know from the beginning of the show here, there are tons of really great events taking place in the greater Pennsylvania Dutch community throughout the rest of the summer. Get yourself to one of those, whether it is the Pennsylvania German Day at Kutztown, or the Goshenhoppen Folk Festival, or this PA Eastern Homestead Festival, or one of those concerts that I advertised. Get out and experience our culture and experience the fun that you can have at any one of these events. And maybe you'll even learn something. Oh, our good friend Brigitte. Oh, I got to give you this shout out. Holy moly. She says the Shoeflies are good friends. This awesome family band, the Shoeflies, will be performing both days at the Goshenhoppen Festival this year. What more do you need, people? That's a reason right there. That is a reason right there to get down there. And our good friend Seth says, Doug, sister, you're outside for Rotary oil, gal. Doug, it's the time of year for red beet eggs. Seth, red beet eggs for me are all year long. There's no season for me. Although I did plant red beets in my garden, and they are slow coming up. So I probably won't get those till probably much later in the summer. But yeah, red beet eggs always. Rotary oil. Dear friends, till next month, thank you. People are wishing me safe travels. Thank you so much, and hopefully everything will go as planned. I'm hoping so. But it is always humbling for me that you take time out of your busy lives, whether you do it live while we're doing the show, in real time, or you take time out at some point and watch a recording of these shows. And I'm continually humbled that you guys do that. And it really means a lot to me that for your continued support of all that we're doing here at the channel. And we're going to keep that Pennsylvania Dutch content coming. We got some great things coming throughout the fall and into the winter that I didn't even tell you guys about yet, but we'll be telling you as the year progresses. But some awesome things on the schedule that I can't wait to share with all of you, and some really important news coming up here in the very near future as well that I can't wait to tell you guys about, but you're gonna have to wait just a little bit. But I wish you all a great rest of the month of June, and I'll be back in 1 month in the middle of July, and we'll have a brand new episode of PA Dutch 101 with tons of great information and lots of fun in a month to come. So till then, dear friends, stay cool and hopefully dry. Hopefully it'll dry out now. And till next month, follow along on Facebook, on Instagram, on the YouTube channel here. We'll keep that Pennsylvania Dutch content coming. But till then, dear friends, as we always say in Pennsylvania Dutch when it's time to say goodbye, Mach's gut. Mach's gut zu dir, mach's gut zu dir, mach's gut zu dir for now. Unsere Zeit ist all und so es ist, mach's gut for now. Hoff wieder mit dir zu sein, hoff du bringst zurück ein Freund. Mach's gut zu dir, mach's gut zu dir, mach's gut zu dir for now. Unsere Zeit ist all und so es ist, mach's gut for now. Hoff wieder mit dir zu sein. Hoff, du bringst Rick ein Freund. Und so mag's gut, lieber Freund, mag's gut.